Hey everyone, welcome to another Pip Breakdown video, the Pip Breakdown number 7. This video here will be a little different. I have gone through, updated all the charts. On top of that, I know normally I go through and just show the general support and resistance in the area and just show the market's possible moves from hitting and reacting to those support and resistance areas. Now, this video here, I've changed it a bit by going through on the lower time frames like I always say to do, and then I'll be showing you where I will be looking to enter the market for this week at least, based on where these support and resistance areas are. And I'll just spend some time talking about it here, so make sure we have a bit of understanding for why exactly I'm looking to buy here or I'm looking to sell here and things like that. So make sure if you are looking to buy and sell in these areas as well, you are applying your trading plan, your risk management to make sure you stay safe and you manage your risk over time so you can profit too, right? Because we always want to be making money out here. Sure, there's a lot of losers in the game, but we're not one of those losers. So let's just jump right into it, starting off at the Australian CAD. So I have these green bars here, these green little rectangles here, just to indicate where I'll be looking to buy for next week. So realistically, I'm expecting a pullback at least to enter the market. First and foremost, I need a pullback either to this zone down here, or to this zone. And these projections last for the entire week, so I don't really have to go in and edit these day in and day out. I do go about and edit them maybe about midweek, just so any development with market structure, things like that. And then I am expecting at least a double top or new highs for this case, right? And the analysis really just goes as simple as that. The reason why I have these zones here, you can see like I have this support zone here. This support zone continues from a few weeks back. Then we also have this support zone here. Really, it's just like that. So moving on to the odd Swiss, we can see that we do have these projections here. So support. Reason I have 3 supports there is because in life, most people give certain situations 3 chances before they normally give up. So I apply that same mentality to the markets because I know a lot of people are involved in the markets, so they will most likely go about things the same way. A lot of people fail once, so at that initial support, and they all give up. But then I know I have 2 more opportunities here before things actually start heading in the intended direction. Because a lot of people aren't wrong, they're just early or late, and that what makes them take the short end of the stick, that type of thing. So I've actually gone through the analysis prior. I've looked at the charts. The Australian is seeming very strong right now. A good example is something like this, where I'm still expecting a pullback down here. So we need at least like a double bottom or just a new structural high or low here. And then I'm still anticipating for price to go up. The Japanese yen is also appearing very weak right now, so it's going to send a lot of these pairs up. These ex-Japanese pairs upwards. Now, we will see this as we progress throughout the rest of the charts, but the New Zealand as well is feeling very weak, so that's going to send these prices up. With the Australian being weak and the New Zealand being weak, this Australian New Zealand is more likely to consolidate this week. But we'll see how that goes out through the entire week. Thursday, Friday is a big volatile day just because it's the close of the market. So for this, we're looking for shorts, and I can see I've actually don't have this one analyzed. So I'll be putting a zone here to sell, right? We're gonna throw in another zone right up here, looking to sell. And then in worst case scenario, we're gonna look for just a double top to sell there. So we can see we have possibilities for shorting here. As soon as market opens, once I get my confirmation, then I'll be looking to sell. I'm not going to just sell based on the current situation. And we also have these possibilities, right? So make sure you apply your trading plan to these where I am personally looking to enter the market. so you can get the same ideas for your trading plan, something you are familiar with. Familiarity helps build a sort of confidence in you, and belief in your system, in your results. So just make sure you work with something like that. Here for the Australian US dollar, so the US dollar is also appearing very weak, and we'll see this as long as we go through the other pairs as well. So these are the projections I have for this. We need that pullback, a double bottom at least, and these other structural lows before we can enter the market to see another, at least a double top or a continuation of trend to the upside. So moving on to the Canadian Swiss, we do just have our projections like this. Pretty simple enough. We see some hiccup here, some hiccup here, some hiccup here. On this downward move, there isn't much of hiccups, much of resistance in the area at all. And we can see that by the bearish pressure just being so dominant. There in this bullish pressure upwards, there was more restriction. There's restriction here, 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 here. It's not just a steady flow upwards. On the other side of things, this bearish pressure here, it's pretty consistent. There's no green candles. There's about one green candle in there. So it shows you the bearish pressure was really high. So we're going to expect a retrace on that before that pressure comes back in and continues to push price lower. Now the Canadian yen, so both of these pairs are weak. Remember, we just mentioned that the yen is weak. The Canadian is also appearing very weak. If we go on this, it should then be up, right? That's what we're looking for. Pound yen, the pound CAD should then be up, right? That's things that we're looking for this week. So the Canadian yen, we have these hiccup areas, right? So we're just looking for price to come back and retrace. I'm not entering just yet for this because we can see price has not touched that area. So we're just going to work with what we have, that type of thing. And then we're really just looking for price to come up to one of these zones and then start heading lower. So yeah, the Canadian and the yen are both weak right now. So this pair is going to either consolidate, or one of these pairs will have to show its dominance by saying I am weaker. The yen is appearing to be a little bit weaker right now, so it can have its retracement, and then I believe the Canadian will then come back in, slow down at one of these resistance points before heading lower, showing that the Canadian is in fact weaker than the yen. So now over to the Swiss yen, we're looking for bullish pressure on this, basically just saying that the yen is really weak and the Swiss is a bit stronger than that. So we need that retracement to these areas here before we're looking to buy, right? Simple stuff really. Trading plan, higher time frame, lower time frame, correlation there, and then there's currency correlation. You're just applying a few different things, keep it simple. Likewise for this one here, the euro odd. So we're mentioning prior that the Australian seems a bit weak, right? So if the Australian is weak, then we know about what we have here, and I've been previously mentioning, we're just looking price to fall from these areas, right? This is kind of where we're seeing these hiccups. So even if the market comes up and into the mid-range zone, I'll still be taking an entry when it breaks back below, red candle, we get a little breakout, a break below here, so showing me that price wants to head back down. So the euro CAD, we are looking to buy this for this week, also showing us that the Canadian is appearing quite weak, right? So we need to pull back a little bit lower. We get a double bottom here, right? So we have structural break, retest like this before heading back up. Alternatively, we can also see a pullback to these areas, which are kind of more deep, right? But our outlook is still bullish. Next, we then have the Euro Swiss. Now this pair is just like the other one, just vice versa in direction. We did already get a pullback here for last week, but I'm not going to be entering just on that. I do need another pullback to head back downwards. Things just as simple as this really. And then overall, this is the support area that we're looking for price to head to. So make sure, like, if you're in the Telegram group, you can just go back to these charts. Once I do post them, it'll be easy to go back to those other charts and see just where these support and resistance areas are. And remember, I always say to, like, use the lower time frames in your perspective, use the lower time frames in your favor by, like, have the direction from the higher time frame, which we've already applied here. And then you're on the lower time frame looking for things that you know how to use, support and resistance, or whether you want to use trend lines, Fibonacci, things that is going to support trades in the direction of the higher trend, right? So next here we have the Euro, Japanese yen. So likewise, we're looking for a pullback on this, and I am more likely to enter a position based on this because this was like Friday's last 4-hour candle. So from Friday's last 4-hour candle. So we're then going to see pullback and pullback. But actually, I may not enter. It depends on where the market opens, because realistically, if the market opens down here, this is not in my favor at all. I need price to then retrace back up to the top. So here we see the same thing. This price is currently in a retracement right now. Though we do need to see price go all the way up to these resistance zones before starting heading lower. And in these resistance zones, multiple things. You can be looking for candlestick patterns. You could be looking for correlation before you enter. There's numerous amount of things you can be looking for. It's really up to you. Your trading plan, or you're trading the moving averages, you can then apply that to this. The next pair we have here is the Euro New Zealand. Now, we did recently hit this big support area down below, and we've had 2 candles heading in the opposite direction now. So we are in the middle of a retrace. We're now looking for price to head back up to these red zones before giving us more reason to head back down and potentially make new lows here. Right, so we can see we have kind of a little structural support here in this area. Nonetheless, I am expecting price to hit these resistance zones given the market structure, given the correlation of things in other time frames and other charts as well. Just looking for this price to then fall. So it just stands like this, and then we have the Euro USD, which we are looking for buyers next week. Like I mentioned, we are looking to buy these XUSD pairs and sell the USDX. So we do ultimately need a pullback on this to these areas, right? And if you just go into the 4-hour chart, you can just match these up with this to see where these areas are on your chart and how you'll be able to trade them once price actually gets to that area. You have to make sure you're waiting for price to hit these areas. Don't enter all the way up here and put your stop loss way down here, because that ultimately doesn't make any sense, because you actually have no confirmation. Not just because I say I'm looking to buy here means enter a position here with your stop loss down there. I say this many times that trading is basically, you're in a state of unawareness with what the market is actually going to do, but it's us as traders to be here to be able to react in a profitable way. Trading is not a thing of anticipation, it's a thing of reaction. So we're waiting for more reason to buy once price gets into this area. If I'm just getting reasons to sell once price gets into this area, I will not be taking a buying trade, right? I need multiple reasons to buy. I'm going to be looking for a reason to buy. I'm going to wait for price to be in my area of interest. I'm going to wait for a reason to buy first of all. I'll also be waiting for price to be in my area of interest before I look to buy first of all, right? And then numerous other things, things that are part of my trading plan, at least, support and resistance, top-down analysis, getting really good entries, risk to reward ratios, things like that. There's just numerous amount of things you can add into your favor to help boost your trading profitability. So next here we have the pound Australian, and analysis really just goes to this. We have a resistance area here, resistance here, and this resistance spanning about 1 to 3 weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we are now looking for price to obviously just come up to one of these zones and then retrace. Now the pound Swiss, the pound CAD actually, we are looking for buyers on this one. We're looking for buyers on this one, so we do need a double bottom here, a retest of this support zone, and then a retest of this support zone down here, and worst case scenario, a double bottom all the way down here before getting another push up. And obviously we update this week by week. An analysis 1 month ago doesn't always have to hold where it is now, unless the market is like consolidating, not showing any key information, higher lows, market structure, things like this. So the pound Swiss, now we are looking to sell. We can see a very evident resistance zone here, and then we do just have another resistance at the top, which just marks off the high. Now I only do have 2 zones here because there's only 2 areas of interest really. If there were more market structure to work with, more support and resistance in these areas, then I would have more, but there's only 2 in this case. There's nothing more above. So the pound yen we're looking to buy, right? Simple works just like this. Price will retrace down to one of these areas before giving us reasons to go upwards and actually buy this. Now the pound New Zealand we're looking to sell. The pound is looking kind of strong right now, so we're going to see these pair fall. We do need a retracement up to one of these levels, and I'm not putting like a level, let's say down here, because realistically the best opportunities are in the pullbacks, not in the breakouts. So because if I entered a trade down here, this would just be a breakout of past week market structure, and like I just mentioned, your best opportunities are in the pullback, right? If you're trading the breakout, you just have your risk to reward is ultimately not as good as getting the moves on the retracement. Next on the list, we do have the pound US dollar, and like I mentioned, we are buying the XUSD pairs. So this is an XUSD pair. We're looking to buy this. So we can enter if we get the right candlestick formation here when the market opens. If not, we're obviously not looking to enter. And then we can get a retest of this old resistance, new support, and in worst case scenarios, we get a double bottom to send this price back upwards. New Zealand CAD is same thing. So the Canadian, also appearing weak here, will then send this price up, right? So we get a retracement to one of these 4 areas here, and then send price back upwards for profitable trade. Now the New Zealand Swiss, same thing here. We need a retracement to one of these areas before having the trade actually move in our direction, being able to actually place a trade, to be honest. And then the New Zealand yen, we are looking for the same thing. So New Zealand is obviously showing a lot of strength right now. Let's just go and touch on New Zealand USD. We're looking to buy this one too, and we can just see our support and resistance here. If you know how to use support and resistance, you know how to draw them, things like that, then you can see why I have these here and why I'm looking to buy and sell based on these. Especially if you're in my course, you should know how to be working with these things, right? So these New Zealand pairs are telling us to buy, right? If we go on to New Zealand, the pound New Zealand, this is then telling us to sell, showing us once again New Zealand's strength. We're on Euro New Zealand, we're getting the indication to sell, once again showing us New Zealand's strength. And then the odd New Zealand, we're looking to sell once more, showing us New Zealand strength. So New Zealand is one of those that are really at the top of the list for strength this week. I'd be looking to trade those. With the New Zealand CAD has to do really well this week, just because the Canadian is really weak and New Zealand is really strong. So make sure, if you want to find, like, if you just want to pick one currency to trade the New Zealand CAD, right? Now let's just jump on to these last few pairs here. The US Canadian, we are looking to sell. We do have a few areas of pullback here. So we do need like a triple top here to sell. Just formations like this, you get that green candle, red candle formation to place another entry. We do have this zone up here for we'll be looking for the same entry criteria, and then worst case scenario we'll be looking to take a trade up here. Now the US Swiss, same thing, we're looking for a pullback to this area. This is also an area, and then we have this area up here. Pretty much simple things. We need that pullback to get the best trade ideas. Now the US Japanese yen, it's same thing. We're looking for a pullback to this area, this area, this area, or this area number 4. I'm not really interested in entering the market based on last week's last 4-hour close. Even though it did reject it, it did give me the right reasons to enter. I will just look for more confirmation, waiting for more of these other prices to be in the same sense of wanting to move, because when one thing moves, other things also move, right? Basic logic. So we're just going to keep some of these things in mind. Remember, go on your charts, look to place these support and resistances on your charts as well, so you can see how to trade it. You have to have a trading plan though. You have to have some idea of risk management and how to control that, how to use risk management, how to manage your trades, things like that, right? So you can try to live a profitable trading life. So like I said, one of the other key points to remember for this week to come is probably trade the New Zealand Canadian for most bullish strength for next week. Now, a lot of these New Zealand pairs are very strong right now, so I would just keep in mind New Zealand, right? New Zealand strength, I'm looking to buy these pairs. New Zealand X, you buy those. X New Zealand, you're looking to sell those. And then also for the Canadian, you can just be looking to sell the Canadian this week and try to make a bigger profit on those ones. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys are liking the content. This is the Pip Breakdown number 7. So we're going about 7-8 weeks strong now. And these videos would now be posted into the Telegram group. So if you're not on the Telegram, just make sure you just check the description down below and get in there. I am updating it, sending out free trade ideas, I showing you where these support and resistance are and giving you a glimpse at my simple trading strategy. So that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.